Hi everybody, I'm going to talk about Bleu Infini by Balmain. This came out in 2024. It's classified as a woody aromatic, and the Balmain website says, the clash of sun-soaked stones and oceanic vapor lingers in the air. Fragrant clary sage and spicy pink peppercorn make one with its opposite earthy and marine notes. The oak moss finale makes the infinite felt as the Mediterranean calls for freedom. So even though it's classified as a woody aromatic, you can see it's very much inspired by the ocean. It's very marine. I would say this is true. I can see the inspiration behind this perfume. I wouldn't say though it's aquatic at all. So don't expect anything really blue or watery. It is much more on the earthy side. And to sum it up, I would kind of say, imagine the herbs that I described earlier. So you have the clary sage, the lichen, oak moss, cistus. Imagine those are submerged in ocean water and then they're left out to bake on a rock overlooking the ocean. They're baking for days. They get all dry and hard and shrink down, and then their colors change too. They're not green plants anymore. They're very pale and soft. Probably also because of the layer of salt water has made that white gray film over their leaves, so the colors are not vibrant anymore. That's how it sort of comes across to me when it comes to the plants in this perfume. So it is kind of herbal, but at the same time, dried herbs, almost like potpourri. And I don't want to offend the perfume by saying it smells like potpourri, but I could see how somebody might feel like this smells a bit like potpourri. I also would kind of give you the imagery if you're in an antique shop and you walk up to this old wardrobe and you open the wardrobe. The smell that hits you is kind of like, I could imagine this fragrance being the smell inside of that wardrobe, especially if there was a hanging little baggie of potpourri that had been in there for decades and decades. There is the cistus in this perfume, which is supposed to kind of give it an animalic touch. That's one of the attributes of cistus, not labdanum. Cistus comes from the leaves of the plant, of the rock rose. It's supposed to be kind of sweet, earthy, spicy, leathery, and animalic. I don't get anything animalic or humanistic. I did describe to you just now a wardrobe, but I wouldn't really see in that fantasy of the wardrobe. I can't really think of clothes that had been worn by people over the years hanging in that wardrobe. So I'm not getting that sort of musty, oily, human animalicness to this perfume. Yeah, it just smells very planty, not really anything to do with mammals. What else can I say? Yeah, I think that that's pretty much the gist of it. As far as the Akigala wood, which is kind of the signature of Quentin Biche, who is the perfumer, I don't know what the raw material smells like. It's supposed to be kind of like patchouli-esque, like a cleaned up patchouli, maybe a little bit more spicy. I can say that this is compared to several other perfumes, all by Quentin Biche. So you have Bleu Imperial, and I can see the through line amongst these perfumes, and maybe that is the Akigala wood, but I can't say I'm getting patchouli. I don't even know if Akigala wood is supposed to smell like literal patchouli, but maybe just like a bit of quality that patchouli has, a woodiness maybe. But I can see a through line. So with Bois Imperial, I would say I could see the same person liking both. Bois Imperial to me though is more spiky and spicier. They're both kind of the same level of dryness though. And then you have another recent work of his, which is right here. This is Le Sel d'Issey. So with this one, I would say that it is sweeter and there's kind of like a halo of saltiness to it. So very, very soft kind of suggestion of marine. Nothing watery. It's also kind of dry as well. And then it has a sweetness from it. I would say it smells like a bubblegum kind of sweetness. And for that reason, I'm not crazy about this perfume. And I really do feel like Issey Miyake can do a lot better when it comes to marine inspired perfumes. So this one for me is just, I'm not the biggest fan. I blind bought it, but I'm not crazy about it. So if you like this, or if you like one of them, I could see you liking the other ones. This one is a little bit sweeter, more youthful. This one is maybe the most mature. But weirdly, when I've been comparing these three, I find that this one is the smoothest of the three. This one is just a little bit too jagged. There's also Ganymede, which does smell kind of in this family. Ganymede to me is, I don't really like that very much. It's very harsh to me. This is a much more wearable version of Ganymede. So yeah, I actually would prefer out of all of these probably this one, because I do like Grey Vetiver from Tom Ford and Bois Imperial is very similar. It's not exactly the same, and I do prefer Grey Vetiver, but Bois Imperial is a pretty good alternative to that one, and it lasts a lot longer. Is there anything else I can think of saying? By the way, yeah, if you do like perfumes like wood sage and sea salt, or Pacific rock moss, if you're looking for something that's a little bit more experimental, I would maybe check out Bleu Infini, but definitely sample it. Do not blind buy, because it's not really easy. You would definitely have to be very into the way it smells. It's not like, oh, I can just wing it. I think that's everything. Yeah. So, okay. Oh, yeah, with the oak moss, I could say that there is oak moss in here, and it is a pretty prominent note, but it kind of does meld with that lichen, kind of amplifies that lichen fantasy, in my opinion. But the oak moss does lend a bit of that earthy sweetness to this fragrance. So if you don't like oak moss, you might not like Bleu Infini. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, or if you've tried this. I'd love to hear what you think of it. Talk to you later.